Hello and welcome, I'm Taki117, back with Taki Space Program. As you can see, we have a rocket sitting on the launch pad, waiting to launch. So, I'm going to bring up my user interface here, and we are 1.69 degrees off angle from our target. So I'm going to warp just a little bit as we prepare for launch here, until we get to less than a degree, preferably less than a quarter of a degree, but that may or may not happen just based on how things aligned. So it looks like we're slowing down here, and it looks like that is about as far as we can go. So launching in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mission and liftoff. So for the initial climb, we're going to point straight up, and we are going to roll just a little bit. So, for those of you that have been following along, this is actually my Luna 3 mission. It is heading for the moon. Oh dear. Having a little bit of an issue here with my autopilot. I might have to disable that. As you can see, my relative inclination is something has gone horribly wrong. There we go. Okay. Slow down a little bit. Let's point up again. So, I have lost control of this rocket. I'm trying to regain control so that we can get back on glide path and continue with our mission. Unfortunately, that might not happen. Alright, here we go. Slowing my descent. Now, I cannot revert this flight. There's no way for me to salvage this flight without first making use of this mission. And you know what? I know exactly what happened. So what happened was I forgot to set up my fuel flow out of my liquid-fueled boosters here. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to ditch those. Ditch basically everything. And here is, of course, my Luna 3 probe. Turn on our surface information here. And we're going to try to slow down. Now, this probably isn't going to work because as we drop through the atmosphere, you can see my thrust to weight ratio is going down. I have to have a thrust to weight ratio greater than 1 for this to work. So to have any hope of coming down intact, my thrust to weight ratio must be greater than 1. If it's not, I'm not going to slow down fast enough, and I'm going to plummet and hit the ground hard. As you can see, I am starting to slow down. But you can also see my suicide burn countdown hovering about 10 seconds. And at this point, there's no way I can save this probe. So, there it goes. So, lesson learned. Always set up your fuel flow before launching your rocket. That was my mistake. So, I will go back and see if I can correct this. I want to go to the vehicle assembly building so I can rebuild this rocket. So, like I said, these things happen. There's really not a whole lot I could have done to save it. So, but here's the Luna 3 probe. And I'm simply going to build another one. So, while we're waiting on that to build, we have a couple other things building. I've already flown the tourist orbit mission that I had, and right now I'm waiting on the shakedown of my communication satellite for 3 days. So I'm going to fly a historic mission of the Mercury Atlas 6. Now, Mercury Atlas 6, flown by John Glenn, was the first American spacecraft to make orbit. I believe he made 3 orbits around the Earth, lasting several hours. Each orbit is about 90 minutes, give or take. And then he returned safely. Now, several episodes ago, I was talking about the Mercury Redstone 3 launch, saying that there was a problem with the limit switch and I had to keep the retro pack on. Unfortunately, I misspoke. It was actually this mission, the Mercury Atlas 6, where they had the limit switch issue. Again, this wasn't a large issue. They just kept the retro pack on to keep the heat shield in place in the event that it came apart, or it came undone. Fortunately, that was not the case, and the mission proceeded as planned in that John Glenn returned safely to the Earth. So, here we are rolling this out to the pad. We are I am going to fast forward, so this is a daytime launch, and you are going to see this rocket in all its glory. You can already see my sparklers down here. So the Mercury capsule is the same capsule that was used for the Redstone launches. Redstone being the type of launcher that it was on. There you go, nice early morning launch here. Now this is, of course, the Atlas rocket, so this would be the Mercury Atlas. Here you can see the engines. And here we go. Launching in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And already we're having issues. So this did not happen in the actual flight. The flight actually went rather well. I can't believe this. I'm just having the worst luck. So let's point up and start from there. So 2 seconds into the flight, they begin the roll program. 16 seconds, they begin to pitch over from 90 to 0 degrees. Now, of course, what is going on here? At 30 seconds into launch, they have something called a radio guidance lock. And what this means is that the General Electric guidance system locks onto a radio transponder in the booster to guide it to orbit. What's going on here? This is just not going at all how I thought it would. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the boosters. This would be normally done at 2 minutes and 10 seconds into the flight. This actually gives me a little bit more control, which is good. It also gives me much more delta V, which is what I really need. Why is this doing this? Should not be happening. Seriously. I'm going to have to fight this rocket all the way to orbit, if it even makes it that far. Alright, let's point up. Let's see. Okay, so we are flying mostly up now. Good. I can't. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to toggle my flight computer while simultaneously trying to maintain manual control. At the moment, it's trying to point up. Understand why this is happening. So I am, of course, ascending. Not even... No, that's actually where I want to be. No, why is it doing this? Once again, trying to fight my rocket to point in the direction that I would like it to point, and it's not working. So, this has gone from bad to worse to why even bother. Alright. back on the glide path. So while this flight is shot, perhaps my next one won't be so bad. Because I also have the Gemini Titan rocket set up, which was the first two-man spacecraft. Yeah, this is not going to make orbit at all. Actually, it might. 855 meters a second delta V. I am, in fact, above the atmosphere. The only problem is I don't know how much delta V I need to circularize at the next apoapsis create node. Alright, I need 1,443 meters a second, so I'm not going to be able to make orbit. Just in that, yeah, I have 874 meters a second of delta V left, which is not enough to make orbit, so I'm not even going to bother. I am instead going to jettison that stage. I'm actually going to point orbit retrograde. Activate my RCS system. Now, he is in space, so I am going to take a crew report. I do not have a crew report from space yet. Ooh, I can EVA. So I'm also going to EVA, take an EVA report. Now, the first EVA was not done until the Gemini program. This was done in the interest of safety. They wanted one astronaut to stay in the capsule and the other would perform the EVA, so that in the event something went wrong, the astronaut on EVA could be this mission went from bad to worse. But anyway, in the event something went wrong while the other astronaut was on EVA, the astronaut inside the capsule could then pull him back to the capsule before performing the deorbit burn, so that they could at least recover the body. Fortunately, this was never needed. However, the Russians did have an issue on their first EVA where the cosmonaut's spacesuit inflated and he actually got stuck inside the Vostok exit tube. So, the cosmonaut had to reach inside his suit, release the oxygen valve, effectively venting his oxygen supply into space, thereby deflating his suit. Oh, things are exploding. And allowing him to then ingress back into the Vostok capsule for its deorbit burn. Fortunately, the American astronauts did not have this problem. So yeah, this mission went from bad to worse. So turns out I was actually trying to switch, instead of trying to switch cameras, I was actually switching ships, which is what caused the initial problem. I'm still working out the bugs with my flight computer here. Some missions are good, some not so much. So, unfortunately, Jebediah, you do not get to go to orbit today. But you did get to go to space, and that is a plus. Yeah, much needed crew report, much needed mission report, or EVA report rather. and then hopefully we will also get a science boost from recovering a ship that has gone to space. So, like I said, mission failure ultimately, but success in that I have saved my Kerbal. So, until next time, I'm Taki117, and remember, it's only rocket science.